Sometimes life happens and you just gotta roll with it. Hello and welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new. My name is Callie and life happened today. I accidentally deleted an entire reading wrap up. So we are recording in a different spot. I am about to get the windows done on my house, so my bookcase is not there. Things are being moved away from the window, and this is my gaming upstairs area, and the only thing that is usable at the moment. So let's just jump right into this month's reading wrap up, and please ignore all the nonsense because my house is in total turmoil. I read 12 books this month, and actually that's not too bad because this month was slow for me. So slow. I don't know what was going on. I wasn't exactly slumping, but I think I was just out and about and doing things that just need to get done. I've also been walking a lot more, so I've been doing a lot more audiobooks, and those I have to listen to on 1x speed. I can't listen to it any faster or I will not comprehend a darn thing that's going on. So 12 books though is still great. The first book I read was Anxious People by Frederick Bachman. I did not know what to expect going into this book. And I think I found a new favorite author. I love his writing. It is phenomenal and so different from what I'm used to reading. This was just a beautifully written book about what it is to be human. It's raw, it's messy, but it's also hopeful and heartwarming. I loved getting to know all of these characters, and the plot twists were just loved it. If you know nothing about this book, we are following a bank robber. The bank robber ends up at a bank that has zero money in it. So the bank robber runs out, starts freaking out, hears sirens, and runs into this apartment building. There is nowhere for them to run except up the stairs. And the only door that's open is this apartment that is having a showing. So the bank robber decides, I'm going to take these people hostage because I have no idea what I'm going to do or how I'm getting myself out of this situation. I should have never done this to begin with. And these people are the worst hostages ever. So that's kind of like the little premise of how we find ourselves in this situation and who we're following. And you just get to know each and every character. And it is so beautifully written. I loved it. The next book I read was The Whole Time Part 1 in the series. And this is by Maisie Wren. And I didn't love this book. I read it as a buddy read. I think the majority of the people kind of weren't feeling it either. To me, it reminded me of a not as good version of the Ravenhood trilogy. You're following a very wealthy girl and she's the FMC, and the MMC is kind of like in this secret society type of thing. They have their own mission that they want to accomplish. And she's just trying to live life and wants to do her own thing. But the vibes were not vibing here. I thought she was annoying and I did not like our MMC. I did not feel like that chemistry going on with them. So I will not be reading any of the other parts of that series. Then I read The Man Made of Smoke by Alex North. And this book just came out. It was kind of marketed as a thriller, mystery thriller. Mystery, yes. Thriller, not really. The thriller was not thrillering. However, if you read this book as you just want to solve the mystery, I think you'll really enjoy this. It was a little slow for me because I was expecting like that heart-pounding thriller type of book. And that's not what we got, but it was still a great story. And the twist at the end was pretty interesting. You're following our main character who has this type of interaction with a serial killer when he was younger. And when he grows up, he decides he's going to be a profiler, like a psychologist type of profiler as his job. And he works at a prison. And something happens where he now needs to go back to his hometown and help solve this mystery of what happened to his dad. And his dad is a cop in that town. And it's very interesting how the pieces start connecting. That was very interesting. I then listened to books 4, 5, and 6 of the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. So book 4 is The Gate of the Feral Gods. Book 5 is The Butcher's Masquerade. And book 6 is The Eye of the Bedlam Bride. And these books have gotten so freaking good. I can't even tell you what's going on in them besides that it's gotten more political. The action has gotten even better in it. There's not a dull moment. There's no middle book syndrome. We're just going hard the entire time. It is such a fun time. And if you do end up picking up this series, listen to it on audio. Jeff Hayes is a master at what he does. He does every single voice in the majority of these books. I think there's like one voice here and there that in the later books of the series that someone else does, but like he's fantastic. These books are such a good time. You need to add them to your TBR right now. Then I read Direbound by Sable Sorensen, and I think this book was extremely overhyped. I feel like I'm very opinionated today, but it was like a rough reading month. There wasn't, besides the Dungeon Crawler Carl series, there wasn't much that I absolutely loved or would be raving about. I thought this was a good book, and I wish I'd gone into it with different expectations because this was marketed as Game of Thrones and Fourth Wing type of books. Both of those are epic series to me, especially Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones in general is like one of the most epic series ever written, even though it's not completed. When you're comparing something to Game of Thrones, you are telling me that we are going to have very high stakes politics going on right here. You are telling me that there's going to be deaths that I don't expect. You're telling me that the twists and turns, and I'm not going to expect them, basically. When you're telling me Fourth Wing, I'm getting a to die for romance. Yes, I'm going to have the bonded animal or companion, but I'm also getting a to die for romance with an epic MMC. And I just want to say, I think that did this book a huge disservice because there's very slim chance that it would live up to that kind of hype, and I don't think it did. But with that being said, as a debut novel, I think it was great. I think she did a great job. I think there's a lot of potential for the series. I think it was also very predictable though, and it didn't have that top tier politics and top tier romance or plot twists, honestly. Kind of really disliked our FMC in general. However, the MMC and the Direwolves carried this book. They are what make me want to read the next book because they were fantastic. I love the dynamics of the pack. I like the thought process when you get those little snidbits from the pack. Yeah, I'm hoping book 2, like I'm going into it with very different expectations, and I think I will enjoy that more because of it. Then I got to read an arc by Sarah Goodman Confino, and it's called Good Grief. It is such a heartwarming tale. Our FMC loses her husband very, very young. I think she's like 30 in the book, and she has 2 children. So she's now raising them by herself. And her mom has stayed with her for a couple of years to make sure she's okay and that she can handle things. And finally, she's like, Mom, you gotta go. I need to learn to do this on my own. I'll be okay. I can do this. As soon as Mom leaves, her mother-in-law shows up on the front doorstep and is there for the foreseeable future. She's like, you don't think you need me, but I know you do. I have been a single mom. I have lost my husband. I'm going to be here for you, whether you like it or not. And it is just so hilarious because if you have a mother-in-law, you can just picture it, right? Like they're used to running their own household. You're used to running your own household. And like there are gonna be things that clash. This book will take you through such a roller coaster of emotions. I went from laughing to crying to being completely shocked at what was going on. And grief is a hard subject to write about. It's extremely difficult, and I think Sarah did this in such a phenomenal way. And one of my favorite parts of this book was watching her relationship with her mother-in-law just grow into this beautiful friendship. It was awesome. I love this book. It is actually out August 26th, so add it to your TBR. So much goes on in it, and like that was the briefest of brief overviews. Add this book to your TBR. It's so good. But just know that it does deal with grief and the loss of a spouse. Then I read Silver Elite by Danny Francis. Was this book a masterpiece? No. Did I still have a great time reading it? Yeah, I did. I finished it in less than 24 hours. Go into this book though, knowing that it is a romance. the focus is on the romance in a dystopian world. It is not like a hardcore dystopian novel. You don't get much world building. You don't really get a look into what went on in the past. You get glimpses, but you don't get like a good chunk of the book that would go into that dystopian world like you would in most dystopian books. And that's because the focus is the romance. I did love our two main characters in different ways, but I didn't love the romance between them. It was a little lackluster for me. But the book as a whole I thought was interesting. You have mods and primes, and mods are these people that got special abilities during this like war that was going on, and I think it was like some type of biochemical warfare that was used, and some people's bodies reacted to it by giving them these like mental abilities, and the primes have none, and they've been fighting each other and trying to off the other one like throughout this period of time. And our FMC is a mod. Things happen and she ends up having to join the Prime's like special unit. It was interesting. I want more information about the world. I want a bigger look into like the mod's abilities, because you kind of get these little tidbits again, like little breadcrumbs of what mods can do, but you don't really get like an in-depth look at that. And I would love more of that in the next book. I'm really interested to see how it goes. Some people say this book is predictable. I predicted some of it, but really not all of it. The ending I sure as heck didn't predict. It was good. I can't wait to read the next one. And then I read Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry, and I loved this book. I'm glad I didn't listen to all the negative reviews and all of the opinions everyone had on it, because I ate it up. It is just a messy, chaotic, beautiful story. There is romance in it, but it mostly reads like a literary fiction. I loved the story within a story. We are following two writers, journalists, writers, something like that. And they both want to tell this famous person's story. She was famous back in the day. She was a socialite. And nobody really knows what has happened to her. She's disappeared for years. And as they're interviewing her, they get a month to interview her. And once she interviews them, she'll decide who she wants to write her story. As they're going through this process, they're falling in love. And it is just such a real relationship. They're talking about things that scare them. They're talking about things that have shaped them into the people that they are. They're not having very easy conversations like you would normally see in a romance. And I loved that aspect of it. I know a lot of people say that this happened really quickly, but I'm one of those people that believes when you find your person, nothing is going to stand in your way. Not time, not age, not people. Like, you find your person and that's your person. I thought it was a beautiful story. I also did really enjoy getting Margaret's story, the socialite that they were interviewing, and seeing how the mistakes she made in her life got her to where she was right then and there. And I think it was a very cute book. I liked the plot twist too. Then I read The Bonekeeper's Daughter by Elise Fry. Holy crap. This is a long book, but let me tell you, the payoff is worth it. It will take you a second to get into the book. It will take you a second to understand the type of world you're going into, but this is a unique world. I have not read a world like this, ever. It's just a very unique story, and we're following a girl who is the bone keeper. She is able to speak with bones, specifically the souls stored in those bones. And there is a process that happens where the bone keeper, when someone dies, is able to hold on to the soul. And once the bones are, I don't know, made ready, cleaned, I don't know, it's kind of gross if you think about it that way, but once the bones are ready, she's able to put the soul back into those bones, and the bones line the village. They line the walls, they line homes, they line like lots of different places. And she's able to help people of that village connect to their ancestors. She's able to help the main village circle ask for advice or, you know, stuff like that. And every so often, the bones call for a sacrifice. The bones give the name. That's all I'm going to say about that. This book is a little dark. As someone that reads like a lot of darker content, it didn't bother me whatsoever, but check your triggers because there are some dark themes in it. And I'm not going to really mention what those are because it will give spoilers for the book. But if you are sensitive to certain topics, I would just check and see if it's in the book. The Bonekeeper's Daughter is actually out the 7th of this month. So a day after this video is going live. So add this to your TBR, check it out. The way this book ended, please read this book and talk to me about it, because I don't know anyone else that's read it and I need somebody to talk about the ending with. Holy crap. I can't believe that's how the book ended and I need to talk about it. I need book 2. I cannot wait. The last book I read for this month was Out of the Woods by Hannah Bonham Young. This was a huge miss for me. I did finish the book. I didn't DNF it, but it was not the same as Out on a Limb. And I think that's because the whole premise of the book is something that I personally cannot connect with, and that is our FMC has been with her husband since they were in like 10th grade. They've been together forever. They've been married for years, and they have a little bit of a disconnect, and they want to get back to a better place in their marriage so that they can be happy again. And it was just very hard for me to connect to them because I'm not experiencing that. I think if you have been with your significant other for a very long time, it may be a little bit more relevant to you. You might understand kind of like the themes of the book and what they're going through, but yeah, unfortunately, it just wasn't for me at this time in my life. Maybe if I would have read it 10 years from now, it would I'd be able to connect to that. Those were all the books I read this month. I mostly stuck to my TBR that we picked out, kind of my mood reading through May. And I really did mood read my way through that month. So I'm pretty pleased overall. I didn't have tons of 5-star reads besides the Dungeon Crawler Carl series, but I think it was still fun. So if you read any of these books, let me know what you thought, because that is the most interesting part to me, is that you could have a very different experience reading these books than I did. Thank you all for hanging out with me. Sorry again about the nonsense going on in my house right now and the weird location I'm filming in. If you are new and enjoyed your time, please hit that subscribe button. And if you enjoyed the video, leave a like. I would really appreciate it. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you in the next one.